Hello and welcome again, all of you, to the third podcast of Access Granted. I am your host, Victor, aka Vicky Moon Vix, blah blah blah, all these other nicknames. Anyways, first and foremost, would like to thank everybody who has watched any of the previous two podcasts. I know that they may be a bit lengthy and a bit packed with information, and it's a lot to take in. So I do appreciate your time and watching it and appreciating what I do or what I'm trying to do here with this podcast. Second thing going on again, as always, I'm starting to get the hang of this. In the bottom right hand corner, I have a link to finding therapy for those who are in that stage of their battle with mental health issues. I know that all of us are in different situations when it comes to healthcare and obtaining healthcare because of insurance and things of that nature. But I have found, as I said in the previous video, that this link or this website in particular is very, very helpful in finding therapists, psychiatrists, anything that you think is appropriate for your certain or specific situation, regardless if you have insurance or not. And then before I do get started, I do just want to go back to the original point or hope aspirations with this podcast that I have. So I know that hearing me talk about mental health issues and just me, my personal battle with this going on, I know that it can be helpful for most or for some people, but my hope is that not maybe you specifically, but someone you may know or anyone in general who comes across this video can see that mental health issues are prevalent in our society today. Not only in our society, but within our community. They are very, very relevant, prevalent to those struggling with these issues. And not only are regular, normal, average Joes dealing with these issues, but they are becoming successful um, citizens, successful human beings in life and contributing to society. And I know that we see all these corporations or celebrities or people with fame who are always talking about it's okay to not be okay, but that's fine because they have the platform and bravo to them for raising awareness to it. But not everybody can buy that or believe just because someone in Hollywood with X amount of numbers followers on Instagram platform, whatever platform they're using, are able to spread this message. Are they able to say, "Oh yeah, I believe them. This is a real issue. I'm not doing this for any personal gratification for myself. Not am I seeking fame or anything, or any pity or anything of that nature. All I want is for my community, people within my community, to see that I do still deal with these mental health issues on a day-to-day basis, but I'm still able to function, thrive, and overcome these things. These mental health issues, diseases, do not define who I am as a person. They are part of me and part of my character development. I'm very grateful for them, but never, ever, ever would I wish this upon anybody. And with that being said, with me having gone through my struggles and my experiences, if I can help even one person avoid any type of suffering, I have achieved my goal. My whole goal here is to help spare people of unnecessary suffering. Excuse me. With that being said, I guess I'll get into the topic for today's podcast, which is anxiety slash ADHD, ADD, which applies for me directly. So I guess where I start with this for me is the ADHD, ADD side of this, which I was first diagnosed with back when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I know that when I was around that age, this was 1996, 97, it was still fairly early in the field of psychology, mental health issues. to diagnose and medicate in a child or a toddler that young and diagnose them with the ADHD, because parents and doctors most likely just attributed it to being a child and not being able to focus and things of that nature. But unfortunately for me, that wasn't the case, and it hasn't been throughout the years. So, what ADD specifically is, or what it really is pretty much not being able to stay on task or to focus on one thing at a time. So it may seem like I'm very, very well oriented and being able to do what I can, but that has not come without its struggles and years of therapy and several medications. So, for example, let's say when I remember specifically certain situations like in first grade with my teacher. Um, she would have me in my own separate little section of our chalkboard that we have for math problems. And she would give me specifically 3 or 4 problems for me to solve on my own. But the rest of the class would work on the same problem together, a more difficult one. But for me, it was making the task smaller, breaking it down so that I could accomplish those tasks, those problems, so that I could still feel the same level of accomplishment as the regular students, or the other students, I should say, excuse me. Um, and then it progressed. I mean, I was, I wouldn't use the word or whatever. I was medicated as a child, right? So from the age of 4 or 5, excuse me, up until the age of 13, then I entered my teenager phase, and I thought I was too good for meds and I didn't need them to function or whatnot. But then it was still very apparent as a teenager, in my late teens, even when I was trying the whole college thing and failing miserably at completing my degree beforehand. It was so difficult to be able to read an article or a certain section that I needed to read, or a couple chapters, or whatever it was that was assigned to me. It was almost near impossible for me to keep my focus long enough for me to finish my homework. Um, and so that pretty much attributed partly to my beginning failures as at my attempt at earning my undergrad, which I did eventually earn. But that still was very, very difficult trying to manage without medication and therapy and different techniques that I would try to implement to sort of refocus myself and recenter my attention to what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. The difference, I guess I should have distinguished this before, between ADHD and ADD pretty much is what it stands for. So ADHD stands for attention deficit hyper disorder, and ADD is attention deficit disorder. So the only difference between the two is that the ADHD has the hyperactive component to it, which pretty much amplifies the effects of ADD, the attention deficit, not being able to attain to a certain task. So as you guys have noticed, either throughout this video so far or in the past 2 videos, I can't stand still, or I can't sit still for any prolonged period of time. I'm always feeling this jittery feeling that I don't know how to explain it. It's so weird and complex to put into words. The way I can best describe it is what ties into the anxiety, part of this episode, is I guess this nervousness, this unsettling feeling in my stomach, or throughout my entire body, actually, perhaps I should say, excuse me, and just needing to constantly be moving. I don't know why I have this. Probably that's attributed to the chemical imbalance in my brain. But there have been different ways that I have tried to cope with this, being trying to focus on one part of my body moving at all times, or most famously that I have now, my old and trusty handy stress ball. I pretty much just carry this around with me every single day, every moment, and just squeeze it. Or the other thing that I did try and worked out for me, I don't know where it is at the moment. I've misplaced it or my dog chewed it up. Um, is the fidget cube. Pretty much a small cube on all six sides is a different function for you to fidget with. So it was a lever, switch, some rollers. It's pretty handy, and I found it to be pretty helpful for a short term solution, of course. But again, ultimately for me, the two components that have helped sort of keep this under wraps or sort of um, manageable is the word I'm looking for. Manageable. Again, medication and therapy. Um, I guess therapy not so much because I'm able to um, somewhat make it my own, and so that it doesn't affect my work or my profession to in any sort of extent or degree that I'm being hindered or that I'm doing subpar work or anything like that. So with that being said, I guess the only thing to tackle now is the anxiety part of things, and that is very, 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 very prevalent. I've come to find out not only in myself but within people in my community. Um, Being a person who's hyper attentive and just hyper, having this hyper energy within myself 24/7, I've become very skilled or well versed in being able to read certain situations, or certain body language from people and their tics or giveaways of being impulsive or always playing with their hands, chewing on their nails, their fingers, the classic old tapping their foot or moving their leg up and down, the nervousness, the restlessness, and then some people just outright telling me, hey, I think I have anxiety, but what exactly is anxiety? What does it entail? So the best way that I've heard it put into words is that it is pretty much the other side of the coin for depression. So depression deprives you of vitality, vigor, energy, things of this nature, makes you lethargic, pretty much puts you down or anything. But anxiety is like the polar opposite of what that would be, is making it so that you're worried or overthinking things or fearful or unsure or just constantly in this state of panic. So it doesn't have to be an all-out 911, oh my god, I don't know what to do, my house is on fire sort of panic, but just this restlessness and unsure feeling within yourself. So I know for a fact this has been a big part of why it's taken me so long to do this third podcast, is because I have pretty much, the best way I like to say it, or just to summarize it, is that I have pretty much my brain running at about 60, anywhere between 60 and 100 miles per second. So I have about an infinite number of thoughts and ideas and questions running through my mind at any moment. So before I even started this podcast today, I was thinking, oh, is my hair looking fine? What about the light up there? I don't know if I should move anything behind me. Where's my squishy? I don't know where I should place the camera. What should I talk about? I know I have my notes, but what if I mess it up? What about the lettering and the font and the color and the descriptions here? What if I can't plug this in? My camera wasn't working, things of that nature. So all of these things are running through my mind, and this is just for a podcast that I do on my free time. So now imagine what it's like when I'm thinking about my vocation or my job, my day job that I do very vigorously and intensely, that I love to do. So I mean, it's exhausting is the best way to put it. It is so draining of mental energy. And the thing that people don't understand or may not know at the moment is that your body and your mind are interconnected and they are one. Honestly, if you don't have, you can take care of your body as best as you can, but if you're not paying attention to your mental health and letting this anxiety run rampant through your life and allowing itself to drain and feed on your mental energy, your body is going to feel the physical effects. Because then as soon as, if you're trying to do something, let's say for example you want to start a project, but then you have these 100 questions running through your mind. So you're saying, let's say, for example, you're going to go paint your room. You run to the store, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But while you're in the store, you're thinking, oh, what color should I get? How many buckets of paint? Should I get this? Should I get that? I need painter's tape. Oh, wait, they don't have this. What's the substitute for this? Oh, I don't have any service. I can't look it up on my phone. Oh, my goodness. Do I need to move any money from my checkings to from my savings to my checkings? Do I have any cash on me? Blah, blah, blah. Things of this nature. So you're asking yourself all these questions only on a short trip to the store and back to complete a small project. But by the time that you get home and you are preparing to do this, you feel exhausted. This is just an example, a situation of how to put it into layman's terms. But after all those thoughts are running through your head and you're having this dialogue within yourself and it's time to do the work, you're like, yeah, I'll just do this later. I'm just going to put it off for later. I just feel tired. But then once you put it off, then it's a vicious cycle. Well, I didn't start it. Was my paint going to be good? Do I need to get any new things that need to be replaced? Stuff like that. Oh, well, then if I don't start it now, if I didn't start it before, I won't start it now, blah, 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 and things of that nature. So, I mean, I think this is very, very common for most people, is this uncertainty. It's just this running, nonstop running motor that is in your brain, asking yourself these questions and things and doubting yourself and the self-dialogue, and it's so exhausting. The key word here that I feel like that needs to be attributed or connected, associated with anxiety is exhaustion. It's so tiring to be thinking 24/7. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. My dog is scratching at the door. Sorry. Are you okay? Sorry. I thought you were scratching at the door. My apologies. But yes. So when we think of people not being able to make simple decisions, or like when, for example, let's say you want to go somewhere to eat, to hang out with somebody, and they make the quote unquote excuse they don't want to hang out, but in reality they're just so tired from thinking about what they want to do with you. Can they do it with COVID precautions? What do they want to wear? Is it going to be cold outside? Who's going to drive? Do I have enough money? Things of this nature. People, it's not that they genuinely don't want to hang out with you. It's just they are mentally exhausted from this crippling anxiety running rampant throughout their mind. My apologies. I guess he didn't want to go out. So it's what this anxiety calls for, not only for, I guess, the people that are dealing with it and those that are around the people who are dealing with it. First and foremost, for the person combating the anxiety, is to figure out what the root cause. So that requires therapy, because I'm a big advocate and I always will be for therapy, and medication. Although some people, again, might feel differently than I do, but I'm so grateful that we live in the time that we do, with modern medicine being at the stage that it is, that we have, although medications that do have side effects or may come with side effects, nonetheless we have medications that can help be our aid in the fight against anxiety and mental health and all these other health issues, so what I found pretty much for me, what calms my anxiety personally, is trying to root myself and stay in the moment. So my anxieties are based on future ideas and future plans and pretty much thinking ahead. But what I have found is that if I try to root myself and just try to take one task at a time and what lies right after or what needs to be done next, it helps sort of put my mind not at ease, but distracts it and keeps me on track for completing my task throughout the day. So let's say if I wake up to go to work, first thing I'm thinking, okay, maybe I want to do a little light stretching. Let me just worry about that. And then I'll think about, where's my yoga mat? I'll find that. Next, I need to take a shower. Let's go do that. Get my clothes ready, things of that nature. Then I'm like, okay, then I want to make myself coffee. So I'm always trying to stay within the present moment. And that is, again, in itself, this exercise or this practice is exhausting, because you yourself have to be constantly and conscientiously active with this. And this is pretty much, it is hard to do, because you have to be at some sort of stage have a grasp on the anxiety itself. Um, but for me personally, that's what I've found has helped me um, sort of calm the anxieties that I have. While although I don't do it every single second of every day, I try to do it as often as I can and as um, conscientiously as I can, as opposed to, oh yeah, remind yourself to do this. No, I have the dialogue with myself. Okay, Victor, relax, calm down. You don't want to worry about the bills that you got to pay in 3 months. Don't worry about your paycheck that is coming in 2 weeks. Don't worry about your lesson plans that you need for your work next week. Worry about what's in front of you. What's next? Keeping myself rooted in the present moment has helped me immensely in combating my anxiety. Again, I will say it. Other than that, conscious activity or mental sort of reframing of your anxiety is that the medication and therapy that I have been receiving for quite a number of years has been the number one aid for me in beating these things. And like I said, these illnesses do not define who I am, but they are a part of me. I embrace them and I am very grateful for them because I know without these mental health issues, I wouldn't be the person I am today, nor where I am in life today. With that being said, I can't think of too much else that I need to share with you for this podcast before I start rambling and don't have enough to share for the future episodes. Um, with that being said, as always, please, 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 if not for yourself, please reference or share this video with a family member, a friend, a coworker, anybody that you may know would benefit from hearing personal stories from myself. I always am very, very open and very welcome to comments, suggestions, questions, concerns. And in the future episodes, near future, I would really love to feature anybody else who's more than willing to share their story, their struggles, any sort of tips that they found that helped them combat any of their mental health issues that may apply to all of you. Not that only depression, anxiety, and ADHD are the only mental health issues around us, but there are so many, and the diagnoses are so vast and so wide that different people are going to deal with them in different ways, and I'm sure that's the case here. So you can reach the podcast either on Facebook or through email. We'll have the information in the description. And as always, always, always remember that although I'm giving you this information, I am in no way, shape, or form a therapist, a substitute for a licensed therapist, or a psychiatrist. I am just a person sharing their stories and their struggles to try to help you out. Again, I would like to remind all of you, you are loved, you are special, and you are needed in this world. If you ever feel alone, you are more than welcome to message me, to reach out to me, and I will always be there for you. I will never turn anyone away, whether I know you, whether we don't know each other, whether we've had problems in the past, things of this nature. All that goes out the window when you are starting to think about lessening yourself and devaluing yourself as a human being, because you should never feel that way. I have felt that way, and I never ever want anyone to feel so alone. So, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, and see you in the next episode. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.